Welcome back. Week three's in the books, and this week we saw New York in their second match leave Sahith at home and bring Cam Young, and they went against Atlanta, who left Lucas Glover on the bench, and they played JT, Patty Ice, and Billy Ho. Atlanta had a pretty commanding 4-0 victory. It was the first shutout in TGL, and they won the first hole, and they were in complete control the entire time. Matt Fitzpatrick said in the post-round interview that New York just needs to make a couple putts. And that's true. They've won only 2 of 30 holes. They had a couple chances to win towards the end of the threesomes or the alternate shot, and they were unable to do that. And then by the time it got to singles, Atlanta won the first 2 singles matches, and it was over. The thing I want to talk about, and I think the biggest takeaway, was that this was the most competitive match. The score was the closest, obviously, but there were a lot of features from real golf that made their way into TGL. Now, the casual fan might lament the fact that there were no hammers thrown, but there really wasn't a time to throw a hammer. It was actually kind of interesting. You could hear Patrick Cantlay talking about the expected strokes gained of using the hammer and that it was about half a stroke. And so it was really only worth throwing when you were in a position to lose, to bring you back and salvage a point. That never really happened for Atlanta, so there was no need to throw the hammer at any point, and they didn't. And once they realized they were going to win without the hammer, they put it in the bag literally. The hammer comes from golf betting, and they used other betting ways of putting pressure on New York. Early on in the match, they had a $100 KP, which New York didn't get inside. I think it was JT hit it to 20 feet, and then Cam Young hit it to 26. And then later on in the match, I can't remember when I think it might have been one of Ricky's holes, they gave them a chance to win their $100 back. They didn't. They were using other betting techniques to put pressure on New York, which didn't show up great in the broadcast. I don't know how TGL is really going to incorporate, side bets and different pieces of action like that. But you could see between Atlanta doing that and then, JT holding a lot of putts, really kind of getting his teammates excited. It was definitely a lot more competitive. Atlanta wanted to win. They wanted the shutout. You could tell New York is getting sick of losing, and this was a lot better match than what we'd seen in the first 2 weeks. They're mic'd up, and they've talked about how these guys aren't entertainers and whatever, but the Atlanta team did a lot better of making it more engaging for the fan and making it more interesting and more compelling. And then that was done with pretty much how they talk to each other. So it'll be interesting to see on the broadcast moving forward how they handle the audio, and are they going to be asking these guys questions all the time, or are they going to kind of sit back and let them talk? This was a great week. We're excited to keep going on. Next week we've got Rory versus Tiger, so that should be very fun. This is Cradle Golf. Thank you so much for swinging by. Make sure to mash that subscribe button so you can get these updates and you can see some of my other golf content. Have a great one.